Okay, so hello everyone. I guess my voice is completely audible to all of you, right? Okay, so hello guys. Today I am here for you, and I am Anik Ghosh, as you can see, from Ask IITians. And I guess you know our 2020-21 batch has done pretty well this time, and we have reached to a new level of success. So we have proven ourselves once more to be the best in the Gulf countries and as well as in India as well. So today I'm going to give you the idea about the NSO exam, which is being conducted by SOF. So today I'm going to teach you about chemistry, going to give you some tips and how to make good marks in NSO and how to score in lesser time. Guys, we all have the idea how to, you know, the type of question. We have solved those questions a number of times, but we always need a trick to solve a question within a particular, with minimum time, right? Because in the end, it's not only the knowledge, but also your solving skill going to be counted over there. So today I'm going to give you some tricks as well as I'm going to show you how to solve difficult question or how to solve unknown question if there suddenly comes, then how to deal, what would be your approach in that level. And apart from that, I'm going to solve a few previous year questions, few model questions. So this session is going to be very important for all of you. So stay tuned and make sure that you do interact with me on and off. And whenever you have any doubts, you do let me know in the chat section. Okay, so let's just start the session. So, guys, before I start the session, I would like to tell you, just a moment. Yeah, I think my screen is perfectly audible to all of you. So, yeah, as I was saying, before I start the session, I would like to tell you that I have two devices right now, and when I'll be writing something, I'll be looking on my left side. Okay, so uh, right now we are going to learn first. You already have some idea what NSO is, and you have seen our previous recordings, previous webinars as well, I guess. And there, our faculties have already given you some brief idea about how to score good in NSO for physics, for maths, and for different other subjects as well. But today, I'm going to tell you the tricks about solving NSO exams for class 8. And the first thing is, definitely, I'm going to show you what are the details about this NSOs. But before that, I'm going to show you our toppers. I want to congratulate them. And you can see that we have our success rate throughout the Gulf as well as in India. So heartiest congratulations to all our toppers for 2020-21 batch. So guys, if you work hard, you're definitely going to be there. So what you have to do is they're not the topper because they just joined us and they did it overnight. They was there with us for 3 to 4 years together. So that's why we know them better. That's why we were able to guide them in that level. In Ask IITians, we all the NITians and the IITians teaches you over here and help you to reach your to go to your dream college. So definitely we have the trick. Definitely we can teach you the things. Those are important to crack the examinations like them, competitive examinations, the way we have solved it. So this is not going to be a general approach. We are going to teach you the tricks that we have done to crack those type of examinations, to crack different sort of Olympiads, different sort of JE and those level of questions, those level of exams, how to approach difficult questions. The way we have done it, we are going to teach you those type of tricks. Okay, so first, if you just look into it, a few details about NSO. So there would be 50 questions, as you can see over here. So these 50 questions would be there. Okay, just a moment. Yeah. So as I was saying, so there would be 50 questions over there. Yeah. So 50 questions would be there, right? And apart from that, the time would be 1 hour. Okay, you already know that. So guys, you have near about even less than 2 minutes. Like it's been near about 1 minute actually, right? 50 questions, 50 minutes. So it's not about whether you know the answer or not. You have to solve it within 1 minute, which is going to be a challenge for all of you. So like after you solve those exam, you are going to to recheck it. So let's keep it like 1 minute for each of the questions. Okay. So now that's not going to be something very difficult. I'm going to teach you about the skills that how to do questions easily and in lesser time. Okay. So now the second, like here, I'm going to discuss about the type of. There would be three sections in your exam. One would be logical reasoning. Then you would be having science, and then you would be having the achiever section. So in the logical reasoning section, there would be 10 questions, as you can see over here, and per question you would be having 1 marks per question. Okay, and the total marks would be 10. So 10 questions would be there, and for science you would be having 35 questions, 1 markers. So 35 marks over there. And achiever section, this is the type of section where you would get the unknown questions and you have to solve it with your common sense, and your problem solving skills and the techniques would be tested over here. So guys, let me tell you very clearly, what are you going to do over there? You are going to compete with the students internationally, right? So now the point is, it's not about how many questions you can solve. Let's say you are solving 50 questions, like 50 questions will be there. Let's say you are solving 45 questions out of it. And let's say the question was easy, so others are also solving 45 questions. So in the end, you are not gaining anything. Okay, you are not still there. So if you really want to score good, if you're really going for a competitive examination, your approach should be, when you get a question which is unknown, which is difficult, don't get scared after looking into those questions. That is when you need to think that this is my opportunity. Because when you see a difficult question in your question paper, that is when you are going to see that, you are going to realize that this question would not be able, like most of the students won't be able to solve this question. So if I can solve this question, then I would be on the top. This should be your approach. So I think you would better wish that you get a difficult question paper, so that each and every questions count. So achiever section is the section where you would be getting ahead of the other students. So this is the section where you need to save some time, like you need to save some time from these two sections, and you need to convert, you need to give the entire timing to the achiever section, so that you can gain the most number of marks from there. Okay. Now, so I guess you already know about all these scholarships and all the like prizes you are going to get from there, right? You are going to get like in the zonal level. Okay, you do understand, you do know that in NSO you are going to get ranking in national level, you are going to get ranking in zonal level, in state level, everywhere. So definitely you'll be getting scholarships and the certificates and the medals in that way as well. So as you can see over here, you would be getting a medal of distinction for the rank 1 to 25 and certificate of distinction. And everyone is going to get the certificate anyway. So it would be for all of you. Now, at international level, the same, like you can see it over here, 50,000 rupees cash. And apart from that, you are going to get the medal and the and the certificate of distinction, outstanding performance over there. So like similarly for second, who would be coming second, for them, it will be 25,000 and the same things over there. Apart from that, who would be getting, third, into a third position, ending up in the third position, they will be getting 10,000 rupees each, and international bronze medal and the certificate of outstanding performances. So this was the international level, and in the zonal level, you can see these are the prizes that you are going to get. Now you might be thinking, why should you appear for NSO? Guys, when you are in your school, you're competing with the students, those who are topper or whatever it is, in your school level, right? But that is not exactly what you're standing for. You do understand, guys, like whatever you want to be in your life, whatever, even it is if it's fashion designing, for that as well, you have to give a competitive exam, right? You have to give a national level competitive exam. So you need to understand that where are you really standing. In the school level, you might be the topper, you might be coming in the top 10, but how good are you in the international level, in the national level? What is your position in your zone? So that is the real competition, isn't it? So NSO gives you that window, that chance, that opportunity where you are going to compete with the students of all the schools, and you can test yourself in that level, right? So That is the thing over here. Now, so as I told you, I'm going to give you the tricks of solving questions and all, right? So right now, this is the time. I have taken up some questions, some important questions, and some questions from the model question papers, which was given in the NSO official website. Okay, like SOF official website. And I have also taken up some questions which were there in the previous year in NSO. Okay, so now, just a moment. Yeah, okay. So let's start solving question now. So the first is the question level. If you just ask me about how would be the question level, so let me tell you, if you just learn the NCRT completely, it would be more than enough for you. Okay, and some reference books for practicing questions and all. Okay, in Ask ITN's modules, you would have so many questions over there, and we are also giving you many questions to so that it would be helping you in these type of examination as well. And in our test series as well, you have seen many questions are there in the advanced level. So those questions are more than enough for you, but for knowledge, they are for application. Okay, these two are the different things, right? The first thing is you need to gather knowledge. For that, NCRT is more than enough for you. You can try out one or two reference books, but for practicing, you need to solve questions from different places, which are really going to test your knowledge. So in Ask ITN's test series, you have solved those type of questions, the difficult type of questions over there, right? So definitely you are perfectly prepared. And for those who are not with us, that's not a big deal. If you are solving different questions from different books, that is completely okay for you. Okay. Now, so you need to learn NCRT line by line. Line by line, you have to learn NCRT. And it's not about reading the NCRT, it's about understanding it. So, what is the effective way of learning things? Once you're learning something, you have to ask questions every time. When you start asking questions, you would get answers which is not written in the book. So ask questions whenever you're trying to learn something. That is the proper way of learning things. Don't just read it out. If you understand a few things, if you just understand something which is written in the book, definitely you'd have questions from you coming from your mind. You have to understand in that level so that you get many questions coming out from your mind. And when you would be getting the answers to those questions, you are completely prepared for the advanced level examinations. Okay, this is how you do it. This is how we did it. So that is the thing. You have to learn it line by line, not read it, learn it, right? They're different. Now, if you do that, you would be good for this examination. Now, look into it. Which of the following exert pressure? The first, the question might look very easy, and this is easy question. So when we are talking about exerting pressure, we are going to learn this question, but we are going to learn things which is related to this question as well. So that anything related to question, if they comes into the exam, then we would be able to solve it. So guys, just remember, when we are talking about pressure, pressure is called force per unit area. That's pressure, right? That is called pressure, force per unit area. Now, which one of the following would exert that? Okay, first is, if you think about the solids, think about the solids. So for the solids, the solid molecules are very organized. Okay, they don't move here and there, they're pretty much organized. So definitely what would happen is, for as they are organized, we call them, they're well packed with each other. Okay, right. So as they are well packed with each other, so definitely you might be thinking they won't have any sort of motions. Guys, for every sort of molecules, there is some sort of motions working over there. Okay, always. So the point is, for solids, there are, like, for every molecule, there are three types of motion. Okay. One is called rotational motion, translational motion, and the vibrational motion. All three sort of motions are there for every sort of molecules, right? But that depends on the temperature and their states of matter. Like, all three of them are not active every time, but yeah, they are present. Depending on the temperature and the states of matter, they just gets activated. Okay. Now, you know that the solids are very close to each other, so they are not that much moving. That okay. So their molecular motions are very much restricted, right? Now, if you think about the liquids, they are moving, right? You have heard about diffusion. You have heard about osmosis, right? They are happening because of the molecular motions in liquids. So liquid particles can move. Okay, that's why we call them fluids, isn't it? That's why we call them fluids. So that's what the liquid particles can do. Now, if you think about it, that why are they moving? Because the liquid particles, they have the molecular motions actually. Now, the molecular motions, as I told you, there are three types of molecular motion: rotational, translational, vibrational. All three of them are present in liquid. But again, that depends on the temperature. If the temperature is high, all these three motions are pretty much active over there. If that is low, the motions are not that much active. You have heard that, you have learned about this, like when you take some sort of hot water, and if you just drop a few inks over there, that ink would completely diffuse in the water rather than the normal water, right? If you take a normal water and if you take hot water, and if you put inks in both of them, what would happen? Definitely hot water. In hot water, the ink would get spread out easily. Because what are we giving over there? When we are giving temperature to the molecules, we are increasing their molecular motions. That's why they spread out easily. Okay. Now, and in the gases, they are free. They have a lot of molecular motions working over there. That's the thing. Now, the motions, like if I just try to take a container, and if I to put the gaseous molecules inside it, then what would happen? Then these gaseous molecules would keep on moving from one place to another place. Why are they moving? Because they have the molecular motions. Okay. So they would move from here and there. Okay. And they would hit on the walls of the container. They would hit on the walls of the container. So they're putting force in the walls of the container, which means force per unit area is the pressure. So in unit area of the container, the force they're putting over there, that's called pressure. So the gaseous particle do exert pressure. Aren't we clear? So gaseous particles do exert pressure over there. So let me see. Are we all clear up to this or not? What are the charts do we have? Okay. So everyone is clear, I guess. So far, no doubts. Yeah. So I don't have any doubts, I guess, in the chat section. So guys, the point is, like, the solids do have, like the gases, they are moving. For that, they exert some pressure. So liquids, they are also moving. The particles are also moving. So if I just keep a container, if I try to put it inside a container, a liquid, that is also going to put some pressure because of the molecular movement. They're going to put some pressure on the wall of the container. So definitely they are going to put some pressure as well. Okay. And for the solids, if you think about the solids, you might be thinking that they are static, they're not moving that much, but they do have a molecular motion. Okay, all the solid particles, they also vibrate. Okay, so for their molecular motion, the pressure is there. It's not that much significant, but for the solids as well, they also put some pressure in there. And I guess that's completely understandable from this way of explaining it. So that's why the answer to this question is going to be all of the above. Most of the students, they would feel that it would be liquids and the gases, but solids also be able to put some pressure on it. So that's the final answer, guys. It would be all of the above. Now, I guess you got it right. Okay. Now, let's go to the next question. So over here, as you can see, when a glass rod is rubbed with a piece of silk cloth, what would happen? Okay. Now think about this. You know that when we take a glass rod, this is a glass rod, and when we just rub it with a silk cloth, after that, if we just keep it in front of some papers, some pieces of papers, you know that what would happen? The papers would start dancing, right? And this is a live example of static electricity. So guys, why is it happening? Because there is a charge getting generated on that glass rod, right? Few charge particles are getting generated over there. Now, but my question is over here. Their question is over here. If you just look into the options, both cloth and the rod acquired positive charge. Okay, they are asking you the nature of the charge, about the nature of the charge. Okay, rod becomes positively charged while the cloth has negative charge. So right now they're just trying to ask you what would be the charge of the rod and what would be the charge of the cloth. So just remember one thing: when you are taking a glass rod and when you are just rubbing it against a woolen cloth or a silk cloth, what happens is the silk cloths, they get negative charge, and the rod, they gets positive charge. They might be thinking, why is it happening? So guys, what happens is when you rub it, there are electrons. Show you, there are electrons in the glass surface, right? When you're rubbing it, what happens is, you know that in an atom, the exterior part of the atoms are made up of taken up by the electrons, right? And the protons and the neutrons are in the nucleus. So when you take the glass rod and when you rub it against the silk cloth, what happens is these electrons goes out to the silk cloth that I have. Okay. So as a result, what happens is, let's say I had 10 protons and 10 electron in that glass, right? In that glass tube, I had 10 protons and 10 electrons. Suddenly what happens is when we rub it up, electrons are moving out. So let's say 2 electrons went away. So what would be the charge of that glass now? What would be the charge of that glass rod? So like right now we have 10 protons and 8 electrons, isn't it? I have 10 protons and 8 electrons. So if I have 10 protons and 8 electrons, protons are positively charged particles and the electrons are negatively charged particles. So what would be the charge of that glass then? Overall charge, what would that be? It would be positive, isn't it? So the glass rod would become positive in this way. Are we all clear now? So if I just take a glass rod, if I just rub it against a woolen cloth, then what would happen is it would become positive charge in nature. So the rod would become positively charged while the cloth has a negative charge. So this is going to be the right answer. Right? Are we all clear? So in the classes, I think we have taught you why the rod is getting positive charge and why the cloths are getting negatively charged. And here as well, I have given a small idea about that, but definitely this is not the entire reason behind it. There are so many questions can be asked, like why suddenly, like I am rubbing it against the cloth. So the cloth can also remove that electron, isn't it? It can also give out that electron. So why are we just thinking like the glass rod would be giving out that electrons? So there can be so many potential questions can be there for this explanation, but we don't have that much time in this webinar. I think we are going to discuss about those things, and we have discussed about those things in the class, right? So it's time to move on to the next question. I guess you have understood everything so far. Let me have a check. Yeah, everything is going fine so far. So now go to the next topic, next question right now. Okay, so the next question is the oxide of sulfur, which can be further oxidized when dissolved in water. So they're asking you, there is a sulfur atom is there. Okay, fine. Then we are finding out its oxide, which can be further oxidized. Okay, so sulfur has oxides which can be further oxidized. So how many oxide can sulfur make? Okay, first I think you do know that what is called oxidation. There is no such issues, I guess, with that. So when I add oxygen with something, that is called oxidation, isn't it? Oxygen addition, oxidation together, right? So oxidized mean basically it is coming from oxidation, and oxidation can be broken into syllables like oxygen plus addition, right? This is how we can put it. So oxygen addition is called oxidation. So when they're asking the oxides of sulfur, there can be two types of oxides of sulfur. Okay, one is sulfur dioxide. I guess you are pretty much familiar with them. Sulfur dioxide, and there can be sulfur trioxide. Okay, both of them can be there. Where have we learned this? Acid rains. You remember acid rain? Acid rain can be formed by sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide both. So sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide, these are the two oxides of sulfur. Right? Like carbon has two oxides as well, carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. In that way, sulfur has two oxides as well. One is sulfur dioxide and the other one is sulfur trioxide. Three oxygens are connected to it. Okay. Now, what are they asking? Which can be further oxidized? Now, you tell me, between them, sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide, which one can be oxidized again? Further means with which can you add more oxygen between sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide? With whom can I add more oxygen? It's completely understandable. It's a no-brainer that it's going to be sulfur dioxide, isn't it? Because you can add oxygen with sulfur dioxide to make sulfur trioxide, isn't it? Do you know what I mean right now? If you have sulfur dioxide, if you burn it, it would become sulfur trioxide. Like if you take, you have learned about combustion, in combustion of fuel, what I'm talking about. Let's say you are going for an incomplete combustion. What do you get from there? Carbon monoxide, isn't it? And if you go for a complete combustion, what do you get from there? Carbon dioxide, right? So this is what I'm talking about. What is combustion? Reaction with oxygen. So this is the same thing happening over here. So carbon monoxide can be further oxidized, isn't it? The same way sulfur dioxide can be further oxidized to sulfur trioxide. I think we are all clear up to this. Now the point is, now when dissolved in water, what would happen if we just take that and dissolve it in water? Metals and non-metals. From that chapter it is coming, right? So like if I just take sulfur dioxide, if I just dissolve it in water, what would happen? Tell me. So this sulfur dioxide and water, they would add up together. What would I get from there? Think about it before I tell you. So what would I get from there? If I just add up sulfur dioxide and H2O, most of you would be thinking that it would be H2SO4, but it won't be H2SO4, because if SO3 is there, with that, if you add up H2O, just add them up. H2, so I'm writing H2, S, so S. How many oxygens are there? 3 over here and 1 over here, isn't it? So total, I have 4 oxygens, right? That is when I would get H2SO4 in this way. But if I talk about SO2 plus water, add them up. What are you getting? What are you getting? You are getting H2SO3, isn't it? Right, guys? Is it understandable? Yeah. So everyone is fine with this. So it is completely understandable. So it is coming at H2SO3. So for that, we can pick in option B. Now, most of the time you would be confused in between option B or C, but let's keep it simple. Just add them up. Water and soap. Okay. So now let's move in to the next question. Okay. So which of the following represents incorrect match? Okay, you have to find out which of them are incorrect. Guys, this is another thing that I have done. Like I have mistaken. Like when I was in solving this type of questions, so I have done mistakes in this thing. So like that's why I'm telling you, don't do the same things that I have done. Okay, in Olympiads. So you can see, read the questions first. Okay, most of the time we miss this, whether it's called incorrect or whether they're asking for correct. So don't do the same mistake that I did. So when you're reading a question, be sure that you are learning it properly and understanding the question properly. I know it would be in a hurry, you would be in a hurry, you have to solve the question in 1 minute, but let me tell you, you would be able to solve in 1 minute. That's completely understandable. But if you solve in 1 minute and if you solve it wrong, that makes no sense in the end, right? You have no negative marking. So that's a relief for you. But let me tell you, when you would be going for some sort of difficult examinations like JE or those type of exam, like NEET, JE, and all those engineering examinations and medical examinations, you would be having negative marking over there. So let's just prepare for those exams from now onwards. When you're going for any sort of exams, I know this is an NSO class, this is a webinar for NSO, but I'm giving you the tips for this is applicable for all of the examinations. Whenever you are going for an exam, if there is no negative marking, then you are getting a sigh of relief right now. Okay, so that is when you can make mistakes, but you won't get punished. Okay, but if you have a negative marking, you would get punished for that by -1. That is what you are going to get in J. Now, in NSO, you don't have any negative marking. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that, but do read the question properly. Incorrect. Now this is an informative questions, right? So as you can see, they are giving you 4 options: coal gas, LPG, producer gas, and CNG. Okay, let's just find out one by one. Let's say I'm a student, I don't remember the answer to this question. Okay, so there are 2 methods to finding out an answer. One is whether if you know the answer, then just go for it. But if you do not know the answer, okay, then what are you going to do? Then you are going to eliminate the possibilities. That makes it easier. So CNG, guys, this is something that all of us know, right? So CNG is known as compressed natural gas, which is methane, right? We all know that. So compressed CNG, the constituent particle is methane. We all do know this, right? Now, LPG. This is something like we use to cook, right? Cook things. Right now, we have so many of us have induction ovens, right? But still, like earlier, we used to use this LPG only, LPG cylinders. Still, like most of us have LPGs in our house, right? Even though we have induction, because when there's a power cut, then that is what is going to help us, right? So LPG. Now, liquefied petroleum gas. Okay. Now, do you know what is petroleum? Petroleum is a mixture of all the oils, crude oils. Like you can call it like kerosene, like diesel, like petrols, like all those oils. Okay, petroleum ether, all of them together, we call it petroleum. Okay. Now, liquefied petroleum gases. So over there, this is methane. And for LPG, what happens is they are also, this is called a hydrocarbon, just for your information. Okay. This is not something which is completely new or something difficult. Hydrocarbon is made up of hydrogen and carbon. That's why we call it hydrocarbon. And if you just look into the formula of methane, there is only hydrogen and carbon. That's why we call methane as a hydrocarbon. Understandable, fairly simple things. So similarly, there are so many other hydrocarbons as well. Methane is only one of them, the simplest one, with one carbon. There are other hydrocarbons, those who are made up of many more carbons. Okay, so one of them are like methane. Similar to like methane, we have other hydrocarbons which are called ethane, butane, propane, and it goes on like that. Decane, nonane, okay, like this. So petroleum is made up of not methane, but it is made up of the other hydrocarbons like ethane, propane, and butane. As you can see, they are all hydrocarbons. Actually, they are hydrocarbons like methane only. So they have similarity in names as well, isn't it? Methane, ethane, propane. So that's the thing over there. So about them, like LPG contains all three of them, but butane is the major among all of them. So this is the major constituent. Butane and propane is also there in a high concentration, but ethane is very low. So propane and butane are the most available thing for methane. So that's why we most like you can say major constituent of LPG. That's why we say that like for LPG this is propane and butane. So this is also true. CNG is also true. This is compressed methane. That's also true. And LPG is also true. We're eliminating the option. So eliminate LPG, eliminate CNG. Now we are left with two of them. This way it's like rather easy. Okay. So now eliminating the options, right? Now we have producer gases and we have coal gas. Okay. So coal gas, how do we get that? We get that from destructive distillation of coal. If you take coal, if you go for destructive distillation, you guys get coal gas. And for your information, if you just read from the NCERT, you don't have to learn from any other books. In NCERT only it is written that coal gas is made up of methane, hydrogen, nitrogen. These are the major constituent of coal gas. Okay, so this is also a right thing. And the only wrong option over here is producer gas made up of carbon and nitrogen. They made it sure that you miss this out because producer gas is made up of carbon monoxide, not carbon. Okay, so these are everything is written in your NCERT. Okay, combustion and flames in there. You just read it out from there. If you have learned NCERT properly, you definitely get the answer. So this is going to be your right answer. Option C is the right answer for this question. Right now, guys, this is the question that I have taken up from the HOTS, hard order thinking skill. Okay, that is the achiever section. Okay, so this is the achiever level question. So make sure you use your brain before you solve this question. This is the question that is going to differentiate you from the other students. So make sure when you come to this section, you should have some time in your hand, like at least near about, you can call it like 5 to 7 minutes in your hand, so that you can at least give some time for each of the question. More than 5, like just try to keep it from 8 minutes, 5 to 8 minutes. Okay, that you get more than 1 minute actually. That's my point right now. So just look into the question first. Anuj performed an experiment to compare the strength of different fibers. So he's trying to compare the strength of different fibers, right? You know about fibers from fibers and fabrics chapter. He arranged the setup as shown figure. So this is his setup. Okay. So once I saw this question, I thought that this is a question of physics. But later, I just when I went through that question, I do understand that it's from chemistry now. Now arrange the threads in order of their increasing strength. So look, this is something you have to anticipate from the portions that you have read in NCERT. This is not out and out given to the NCERT, but when you read it out, you get the answer properly. When you ask questions to yourself, okay, that is when you get the answer to this question. That is something I was talking about. So let's say we are facing it for the first time. We are really facing it for the first time, and we don't know the answer. How to, make the approach towards these type of questions, right? Now, first, look into the options. Don't just start thinking without looking at the option. In the option, there are only 3 sort of things. One is nylon, another one is silk, another one is cotton. Okay, so the first thing is there are fibers. There are natural fibers, there are artificial fibers. What was the need of this artificial fiber? what were the problems with natural fiber. If you have read it, you do know that natural fibers had like that the major problem with them was they are not strong enough. They are not strong enough. That's why we tried to, and they're also costly. That's why we try to make them artificial so that we can produce more. We don't have to, rely on the natural sources. We can just make it according to our market demand. So that was one of the needs, and the second was the strength, the quality. Okay, so guys, this is artificial. I think everyone knows that, right? This is artificial, and these two, are natural, isn't it? So like silk is coming from silkworms, right? And cotton is also found from the trees, but nylon we make it, right? So definitely artificial fibers were, produced to increase the strength. So definitely, guys, this is a no-brainer. I think all of us can understand that nylon is going to be the strongest. Nylon is going to be the strongest, no doubt about it. Okay. So if you just understand that, just see you are eliminating two options then and there. This was the approach I'm talking about. It's not always that you would know the answer, but you can find it out if you have some time in your hand. That's why you need the time for this section. I think you're getting my point now, right? Now, we are left with two options: nylon, cotton silk, nylon, silk, cotton. I'm going to tell you one more process of finding out, of eliminating answers. This is not always right, but yeah, that makes sense if I just tell you. Whenever you'll be able to see that whenever these type of questions are coming, most of the time, 90% of the time, like this is a way of guessing. Okay, so when you can when you see these type of questions, you'll be able to see that whatever the right answer would be, it would be like they would try to confuse you over there, right? If you just look into it, for others, like what are the four options? In these four options, you'd be able to see nylon is the strongest. It is shown in two options, but in the other options, they are showing cotton or silk. So just counting the probability, you can just sense what can be the right answers, what can be the options that you have to eliminate. But this is not always true. I'm telling you once more. This is just a method of sensing things. Okay, using other senses when you're solving a question. You can see two of the options are starting with nylon. So nylon had a chance. It has a chance of getting the strongest among them, right? So in this way also you can eliminate the two options. But again, I'm telling you, this is risky. This is something that you shouldn't be doing, but you should use this sense in your mind that, yeah, this is giving me a hint. Okay. Now, after that, which one is the second strongest? Now you think silk is coming from silkworms. Cotton is coming from the plants. Now, silkworm, from there, the proteins and the fibers, they make the silk. And the for the plants, these are coming from the plant fibers. Which one is stronger? Definitely the animal fibers are going to be stronger because they are getting formed by the proteins. And you know that the proteins are made up of very big molecules. They are very big molecules. Fatty acids and fats, they are just combined together to make amino acids. They just combine together to make this proteins. So all these essential amino acids, they combine together. Like you would be reading about them, you've been learning about them in biology. There are amino acids like glycine, alanine, valine, serine. These are the amino acids we need. These amino acids combine together to give you proteins. So proteins are very strong molecules. They're not weak molecules. So protein fibers are definitely going to be most stronger. So in that way, silk comes next and cotton comes last. In this way, you can get the answer. Option D. So what have you learned so far in this session? The point is, you are not going to get the common questions. That's pretty hard to get. But when you're learning things, you need to ask questions to yourself. And when you're solving questions, that's another skill. It's not about whether what you know unless and until you put it on a pen and paper. So the tips that I'm going to give you, the time you have right now, indulge that time in solving questions. If you solve more and more questions, what happens is you'd be able to analyze a question. You'd be able to find out the tricks. You'd be able to find out the process, the strategy you need to use at that day. So I guess that would be it for today. I guess you have learned a lot of things from me. I think it was beneficial for all of you as well. So it was complete. I had a very good experience as well. So I'm going to meet you again soon. And I guess you would do very well in your exam and hope to see you soon again. Okay, so that would be it for today. Bye, everyone.